Right, I'm just making a quick video. I've just watched Laura Koonsberg show, the 9 a.m. Sunday show, and Wes Streeting's been on there talking about sort of Labour policies. Now, you know, the Labour are high in the polls, and we're all thinking that Labour are going to be our next party in power, and Keir Starmer's going to be the Prime Minister in the next election. But there was quite a few sort of loony policies that Wes Streeting mentioned, one of which was a UK smoking ban. Now, what he reckons is that in New Zealand, they're going through with this policy of banning the sale of cigarettes and the smoking of cigarettes in New Zealand. And it's a policy that Labour would like to pursue, you know, ideally because they think that it would cut down on deaths and people being hospitalised due to smoking. Now, do you know what? I'm not a smoker, and my dad actually died. He was a heavy smoker. He was a 40-day man, and he died. I think he died at 56. You know, sort of due to smoking. And I don't smoke. I tried a fag at the age of 5, and I've not had one since. It's not a policy. If you want to lose an election, it's like Labour, innit? If you want to lose the next election, let's come up with a loony policy of banning smoking. You know, for a lot of people, having a fag is their only form of enjoyment, isn't it? They haven't got the money to go out drinking or socialising, so they go, oh well, I'll have a fag, and you know, that 3 minutes or 5 minutes to smoke the fag's their moment of enjoyment. So, you know, I just think what an absolutely mental policy to come up with. The second thing he mentioned was stopping doctor's surgeries. Like, so apparently all your local doctor's surgeries that you might use, it's a bit like a private enterprise where you'll get 2 or 3 doctors get together. They'll go, oh, why no, let's buy a building or let's lease a building, and we'll start a doctor's surgery and we'll make a few quid, and that's apparently how it works. So they don't want to do that. They want all the doctors to be NHS and no private enterprise. So again, you know, you just think, what a waste of time. You know, they're going to have all that bureaucracy of you know, closing down doctors' surgeries and making doctors go on the NHS. Let's face it, most doctors, if they're in their like 50s, are just going to go, oh, I'll tell you what, I'm on 100 grand a year, I've got plenty of money in the bank, I'm going to retire. And all that's going to happen is you're going to have less and less doctors, less and less GPs to see patients, and it's all going to be a cock-up. So, you know, that's another policy, isn't it, where Labour's come up with this loony policy. We don't like GPs. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll make them all, you know, work for the NHS, and they can't have their own GP surgeries. You know, it's like Labour. You know, like when we had Jeremy Corbyn, you know, Labour were on about privatising the railways, weren't they? Water companies and electricity generating companies. That's all gone by the wayside. And you know, now we've gone down to doctors being sort of renationalised. Again, you know, another policy that I always think Labour bang on about is landlords. Now, I'm a landlord, and I've currently got 4 houses that I rent to tenants. So if you think about it, that's 4 families that are living in houses due to me renting a house to them. Labour's got this idea, haven't they, of like some sort of one-off tax where if you're a landlord, you know, we'll hit you with a tax, 50 grand or whatever. But what I'm saying, whatever they bring in, if they bring something like that in, all landlords will think is, you know what, bollocks to this, I'm going to boot my tenants out, sell my houses, and it'll be like Ireland, where they've had the same sort of thing in Ireland, where you know, there's like whatever 500 people trying to rent one house because you can't rent any houses in Ireland because all the landlords have gone bollocks to it. I'm coming out of the market. You know, it's like I think that Labour sort of go on, you know, about landlords being sort of greedy or whatever, but in reality, you know, all landlords are doing is trying to secure their future, aren't they? All they're trying to do is, you know, a way to get to retirement and pay for retirement. Now, if I was an MP, or if I was working in the public sector, I wouldn't have to be a landlord, because I'd be on a massive pension. You know, I'd rather have a big pension. I'd rather have, you know, if they were going to give me, you know, 30 grand a year on a pension, I'd be happy with that. But unfortunately, you know, I've never worked for the government, or I've never worked for you know, what do they call it? You know, government, local authority, or whatever. You know, I've always worked for sort of crappy, you know, companies which pay you 3% pension and don't pay you fuck all. So, you know, what I'm saying is, don't bash them. If you want to get in power, what you want to do is shut up. That's what you want to do. Now, you know, I'm no fan of the Tories. You know, I've voted in the past. I've voted Labour, and I've voted Tory. I've voted Liberal, and I always think, what have the Tories done for me? Not a lot. Whereas what I think is, you know, like when Tony Blair was in power and he brought in the minimum wage and stuff like that, there was a lot of good policies which people could get behind, and which definitely helped me get a job and sort of set off in life. You know, it's like these Labour, they just want to come up with, they just want to say, don't they, right, nothing will change, we're not having any wacky policies, things will remain the same, and then, you know, like small things you could do, i.e., you know, like your private pension. So at the minute, your private pension, you can take 25% at 55. Why don't they turn around and go, well, we'll change the law and say, well, you can take 25% at 45, and then that would help people out, you know, in this sort of like mortgage crisis or whatever. You know, there's if people have got 100 grand in their pension pot, there's 25 grand. People might be able to like pay a lump off their mortgage, reduce, because of high interest rates, reduce the mortgage. They're the sort of policies they want to be coming up with. You know, in government, there's a lot of bureaucracy. I know, like, I've got a mate who works for the MOD, and he was on about notebooks. Now, apparently in the MOD, you're issued with, you know, like an A4 lined notebook that they buy from some company or whatever, and they're paying about £7 for one of these notebooks, which you could buy from Smith's for 50p. That is how they waste money. But because of like government, you know, like MOD guidelines, you know, the margin has to be, you know, 22 millimeters in. The lines have to be set at 20, you know, 20 centimeters, or do you know what I mean? There's all this bureaucracy, and that's why, you know, we waste loads of money on stuff that we could get a lot cheaper, you know. So that's the kind of thing they need to sort out. And I'll tell you what as well. Why doesn't Labour just go, I'll tell you what else we're going to do. We're going to reduce MP salaries, because they're on a good whack. You know, they could say, oh well, yeah, you know, nobody needs to be on 100 grand or 50 grand or whatever. We'll drop the price down. Do you know what I mean? And I'll tell you what as well. If they want a decent policy, get rid of the monarchy. You know, they could say, right, we've got all these hangers on who are getting money through the monarchy. I don't know how many we've got. We've got about 500 who are all getting money, hangers on, all getting money, and go, we're not having any of that. The monarchy will be 4 people, and there's only 4 people will get any cash, and the rest of them can get a job. There you go. That'd be a good policy. So that's a bit of a rant. That's all I'm doing for now. Okay, cheers, bye.